Hello friends, Tom Downey here for Chat Sports, and today I am joined by Brent Korobotic, the head risk manager over at BetDSI, here to talk about the Cowboys, Eagles, and some other NFL games. Brent, thank you so much for stopping by.
Always a pleasure to speak with you, Tom.
All right, so we'll start things off with Cowboys, Eagles. We'll talk about the NFC East in a little bit, but in terms of this game itself, the thing that jumps out to me, it's only a 3.5-point spread. The Cowboys are at home. Is that a little low? Because I kind of feel like maybe it is just a point or two lower than I would have thought it.
Yeah, but you might be a Cowboys fan as well, Tom. I don't know. One thing you have to keep in mind, and it is important to touch on this, is the number is always not necessarily an indication of what the game result is going to be. So you put up the Cowboys open -4. It's like, do we expect the Cowboys to win by 4? It's not. We're putting up a price that we hope in terms of the market is going to get enough action bet on both teams. So we're sitting at it actually did open at 4 and came down to 3.5 where we are right now. So it's like we're trying to get money divided on both teams. That's kind of the idea of the line and the functional line. Right now, I'm kind of surprised that the line has moved down to where it is right now to 3.5, and even like some of them are like -115 on the dog, simply because like in my store myself here, I've got more wagers in terms of my actual individual number of bets. I've got more bets on the Cowboys right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if this number ticks back up. One thing too, I mean, the Eagles, they won last week and such, but they just haven't looked that good. I mean, you're talking about the Eagles now who are 6-6 and right behind Dallas. And I mean, we talked about this, probably a month ago. We talked about where Dallas was and where they are now, having run off 4 straight, and they're sitting here at 5-1 at home. And I mean, this game is really, really key for the whole conference and everything, or the division and everything as well.
And I think maybe there's the potentiality here for a possible letdown game. The Cowboys coming off that super high win over the Saints. Now they have to keep finding a way to win, and they've won 4 straight. So do you think that's some kind of risk there of that classic letdown game for Dallas?
Yeah, no, I don't think so in this spot, just because there's just so much, on the line. But I mean, you're very correct, and that does happen, week to week in the NFL. And I know people are always like, there's no such thing as look-ahead games, and the NFL guys are professionals. That stuff doesn't happen, but it truly does happen. It's interesting that, that game last week, it was, listen to Jerry Jones afterwards in the conferences and stuff like that, and he was talking about what a big win it was, and how important it was to get a win against a team that's as well coached as New Orleans, and what a great coach Peyton was and stuff. And I was thinking, he didn't lay any praise on his own coach there, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. He talked about the other coach and how great he was, even though his team just beat them. I do want to touch on, Tom, I do have some sharp action on this game, and it did come on the total. Now the total did open 43, got just ticked down to 43 and up to 43.5 and 44 where we are right now. But the initial sharp action was on the over 43. So sharp action on the total is one. As I said, the side has moved down just a little bit from the 4 down to 3.5, but my wager count in terms of the number of bets I've taken still favors the Cowboys. So I don't have sharp action per se on the side of this game, but I do have on the total, and that came on the over. And again, Dallas, yeah, they did so well to shut down New Orleans last week, but they are a team that's been putting up 20 plus points every game. But prior to last week, maybe Washington, and they put up like 31, but they gave up 23 there. Atlanta, same thing, was around 41. Last time these two teams played, it was 47 points as well. So I mean, Dallas's defense has been pretty strong all year, and it looks like, I keep touching on Amari Cooper and what he's done for this team, and really, really helped them out. I think we'll see what happens with them missing Beasley, but even looking at the box score over last week, it was just Amari Cooper again. The rookie Gallup did well. Elliott's done a good job of catching the ball out of the backfield and running as well, so he's kind of done it all. And I mean, Prescott put up Drew Brees type numbers, being 24 out of 28. So they're just rounding into form and really solid. And like I said, this game really could be, looking at the division odds, this really could be the one that decides it.
All right, folks, let us know in the comment section who you got, Cowboys -3.5 or the Eagles to pull the upset. And then once you get your comments in the comment section, go place a bet over at BetDSI. Use promo code Cowboys120 when you sign up and deposit. It gets you a 120% deposit bonus. Put down $50, they're going to give you 60 for free. Put down $500, they'll give you 600 extra bucks to bet with, but only on BetDSI if you use promo code Cowboys120 at chatsports.com/bet. You just kind of hinted at it there, Brent. The NFC East and the implications for this one. The Cowboys right now have a 1-game lead. They beat the Eagles. All of a sudden, they take very much a stranglehold on the division.
Yeah, I definitely, and the odds are pretty much priced accordingly. And you don't want to, kick anyone while they're down, but it is pretty much a two-horse race now. I mean, Washington, you as a Cowboy fan, you might not feel bad for the Redskins, but you really got to feel bad what's happened to them in terms of McCoy and Alex Smith before that. And the Giants, obviously, it's just a long season for them, so they're pretty much out of it. But right now, we have Dallas as I think like a minus 275 favorite to win the division, which gives them roughly like around a 73% chance in terms of their break-even point. So Philadelphia is around plus 270, which gives them like a 27% of winning that division. And really, looking at the games ahead on the schedule, I just took a quick look here, and I mean Dallas is at Indianapolis, which is not an easy game. They play Tampa Bay, who's can put up a whole lot of points, and then they're at the Giants. I mean the Giants might not have much to play for, but they probably still wouldn't mind being the Cowboys. And the flip side of that is you got the Eagles who go at the Rams, then they play Houston, two games that won't be easy, and then they're at Washington, a game they should win. So I think Dallas does have an edge in terms of the remaining games, and Dallas is like a 3.5 point favorite to win this game. So we're, like I said, 73% is roughly the break-even point where they are priced right now. I just think that's accurate, and it's also an indication of the money we've had come in, and we are starting to see Cowboys money, even when they're a couple weeks back when they were kind of treading water there and everyone was bunched together. Cowboys were still getting support, and I guess there's still some sentiment that they might be America's team after all.
All right, then let's talk about some Super Bowl odds here. Maybe not much of a surprise at the top. It's the Rams, the Saints, and then the Patriots and the Chiefs, and that kind of matches up with what we've seen really on the field so far this season. Yeah,
I mean, really, the Saints have looked so good. I mean, that's kind of why that win for Dallas looks so big. But that win, New Orleans just looks so good. The Rams, obviously, Kansas City right behind them. We'll see. It's interesting because, you always, historically, you look at New Orleans as a high-flying offense, but not much of a defense. Now, basically, you're saying the same thing about the Rams and the Chiefs. I mean, they've got some pretty good, high-scoring offenses, but defense, not so much. Rams are more of a head-scratcher, I think, in that they seem like they've got the personnel to be a much better defense, but, I mean, maybe they're just out on the field so much because their offense scores so much. But we do have New Orleans and the Rams as kind of co-favorites there. Patriots right where they should be. And, this is the time of year where kind of New England is like, okay, all of our losses for the year are behind us. This is where we go on our run, and that seems to be the way they're going. That nice win last week as well. Chiefs, we're going to see how that turns out in terms of missing the running back, and obviously they still have a young quarterback. And let's not forget Dallas. We got them at 25-1 as well. They're worth a shot there. And again, we're kind of pricing that based on the fact that we're looking at them making the playoffs now, where about 4 weeks ago we weren't.
I think that makes sense. And again, let's see other teams that are also right there in the playoff mix, the Texans and the Bears. I think that all makes sense. Let's talk now then about the Sharps picks this week. First up, Brent, you've got the Ravens plus 7.5 against KC. That one's a bit of a surprise to me, actually.
Yeah, I think, people are just looking at Kansas City in terms of the whole, the narrative all season long about how their defense can't stop many people. The line is down to 6.5 right now, so sharp money was initially on Baltimore plus 7.5. Baltimore, it's interesting because, I think Kansas City's offense is so good that they are going to put up points even against a decent defense like Baltimore. But being at home, Kansas City puts up a whole ton of points. So you're kind of looking at Baltimore saying, hey, they're going to put up a whole lot of points. And I just don't know if their offense is geared to that if Lamar Jackson is still at the helm. I mean, he does, add that element of the running game that Flacco doesn't have, but he's just not the passer that Flacco is. So I'm just kind of interested in that one to see how it goes. Right now, I've got a wager count about 3-1 favoring Kansas City. So I got public money on Kansas City as well, which is no surprise. But the line has dropped. So that's kind of a spot where we look for. We've got sharp money on the dog Baltimore plus 7.5 and public money the other way on Kansas City minus 6.5. So because of the public money coming in, I wouldn't be surprised if this game came back to 7 and touched on 7. But I think we won't see a 7.5 again. Carolina's another one. Tough to get behind them, I think, in terms of them having lost 4 in a row. They're on the road at Cleveland, and Cleveland's kind of been like a bit of a darling team in the public. Definitely likes betting the Browns, but this week I do have Carolina money at a pick is where the sharp money came in. So Carolina minus, at a pick was sharp. Right now we're at minus 1.5 on that game. Atlanta and Green Bay, interesting. We'll see what happens with Green Bay if the team kind of rallies around their interim coach Philbin after McCarthy's out of there. Finally, I guess you would say. But these, it's really, if you look back at the start of the season, we looked at these two teams and said, okay, Atlanta's going to come into this game at 4-8. Green Bay's going to be 4-7-1, and they're both going to be out of the playoffs. It's like, you never would have expected that. But the size, maybe not much to choose from, but I do have sharp money on this game, and it came on the total. That came over 48. My game total now was 50.5. Also, no surprise in that I've got a lot of public money betting the over when these two teams meet. So I've got a wager count almost 4-1 favoring that over there. Another total here is the New Orleans-Tampa Bay game. Now, I mean, these two teams played, I guess it was week 1, and we had a total of 50. And these two teams played and scored 83 points. So you're looking at this game now, it's like, okay, what's the right number? We came up with 57.5. That got bet down by sharp money right away to the 55.5 where we are right now. So under 57.5 was sharp there. And lastly, we touched on the Philadelphia-Dallas game as well, and that total going over was also sharp, Tom.
Yep. And then one more I want to talk here. How about the Lions and the Cardinals with the money coming in on Detroit?
That was the last one I got for you with Detroit on the road. And again, I don't know how, you can really make a case for either of these two teams, but this line has moved substantially in Detroit's favor, and that was sharp money that drove that. My wager count's pretty even in terms of the two sides there, but sharp money was on Detroit -2. That line's up to 3 right now. So, getting going from 2 on to 3, which is a key number in NFL football, of course, is quite a big move. So Arizona home dogs, generally speaking, you don't mind if you're sitting there needing a home dog in these games, but when it's these two ugly teams and you got sharp money in the road favorite, kind of uncomfortable for us, but we'll ride this out and probably hang and stay at number 3 the whole week.
All right, folks, you can get in on the action at BetDSI. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. Put down $50, they'll give you $60 for free. Put down $100, they'll give you $120. Put down $500, they'll get you $600 extra bucks to bet with, but only on BetDSI at chatsports.com/bet with that promo code Cowboys120. Brent, thank you so much for stopping by, my man.
Appreciate having me on, Tom.
Of course.